What's this? A letter for me.
Welcome to another episode of Remember the Great Sports through the Mail Thursdays. Today I'm going to share with you 3 envelopes I just recently got back, so let's just jump right into this. Alright, the first return is from former New York Giant tight end from the 1970s, Gary Shirk, on 1, 2, 3, and 4. So let me tell you a little bit about Gary Shirk and his playing career. Shirk, an Ohio native, attended high school in Ohio before moving on to Morehead State University, where he was a 4-year starter and was the team MVP in 1972. After going undrafted, he started playing for Memphis of the WFL in 1974 and 75. After having a couple successful seasons in the WFL, Shirk moved on to the NFL, signing with the Giants, where he played from 1976 until 1982. He played in 101 games for the Giants, with 34 games started and caught 130 passes for 1,640 yards and 11 touchdowns. From 1979 to 82, this other quarterback named Phil Simms, NFL Hall of Famer Phil Simms, also does, I want to say, CBS broadcasts, if I'm not mistaken, during the NFL season, who also is a Morehead State alumni, joined Shirk on the Giants and was the quarterback. So obviously Phil Simms went there, but Gary Shirk, what are the odds that 2 people come from that program and their teammates on the same team during that era? I mean, this is not like USC or, Florida State or, the Miami Hurricanes or anything like that, or Alabama or whatever. It's Morehead State. After his career in the NFL, Shirk did play a couple seasons in the now defunct USFL from 1984 to 85, again with Memphis for the Memphis Showboats. After his playing career in football, Shirk was inducted into the Kentucky Football Hall of Fame in 2010 and the Morehead State University Athletics Hall of Fame in 2014. This is another example of one of those very hard-working individuals. He did not go to a Division I powerhouse college football program. He worked very hard. He played WFL, which is now defunct as well, making his name until he got his shot to play in the NFL for the New York Giants. So a very cool story about Mr. Shirk, and I'm very fortunate and very happy to add his autograph to my collection. Alright, so this next one is postmarked from Illinois, and this one is kind of a cool story as well. Actually, all of these that I'm going to share with you today are pretty neat. And this one is former Chicago Bears tight end / punter Bob Parsons on 1, 2, 3, and a 4th right there. And it looks like he wrote Chicago Bears after each one. This one's, both of these cards are really dark because of his uniform, so it's hard to see what he inscribed. These he wrote across his face, so I guess there's, out of these 4 or 3 cards, there's not one that's, perfect for signing, but he did what he could, it looks like. So let me tell you about Bob Parsons. Parsons was born in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, and he played college football for the famed Joe Paterno at Penn State University. During his first couple years at Penn State, he saw very little action. He moved up to the starting role the years that Franco Harris and Lydell Mitchell were the running backs on that same team. This was the opportunity for Parsons to start at tight end those couple years when they were somewhat successful. He played in the Cotton Bowl against Texas, where he caught a key pass when they routed the Longhorns 30-6 during that game. The Bears selected Parsons in the 5th round of the 72 draft. He made the team as a rookie, playing behind starter Earl Thomas at tight end. The Bears finished 4-9 that year, but Parsons scored a touchdown during his rookie season in his first game as a pro. Parsons remained the backup tight end the following season, catching a few passes throughout the year. The Bears fell to 3-11 in 73, And in 1974, this would be the first time in his career that Parsons would be a starter, but it wasn't at tight end. Instead, Parsons replaced the punter, Bobby Joe Green. In his first season as a punter, Parsons punted 90 times, which that's not good. In 75, along with the arrival of Walter Payton, Parsons was considered a double-duty player. He would start at tight end as well as being the punter on that team. He would catch 13 passes for 184 yards that season, and in 1976, he would be the team's punter full-time, more than he would be playing at tight end, although he did catch a couple catches that year. In 1977, the Bears had a winning season at 9-5. After the season, Jack Pardee left the team to go to the Redskins, and that's when Mike Ditka took over the team, and Parsons would remain with the team through 1983, more or less more as the punter than as the tight end. He would have a few catches here and there during the season, but he was used more as a punter. After departing the Bears after 1983, he would also move on to the USFL and play for the Birmingham franchise in the USFL. He would spend a season with them. He would also return in 1985 for another season. And basically after the season was in doubt after 1985, he retired from pro football. A couple notable things about Parsons in 1975, 81, and 82. He led the NFL in punting attempts, which that's not a good thing. That means that's not a stat that you want to lead the NFL in, because that means that you're kicking the ball an awful lot because your team on offense is not doing well. So what's unique about Mr. Parsons and what is neat is that he was a two-way player, more notably a kicker than he was a tight end, but you just don't see too many people that play, especially in today's game. So thank you, Mr. Parsons, for signing for me. All right, so this last one is actually really neat, and a lot of people may not realize this about this individual. And unfortunately, he didn't sign all of the cards I sent. Maybe his limit's only 2, I'm not sure. But that is former Minnesota Viking great Ed White on 2 of the same card. However, I did include a third one of him that he did not sign. And more importantly, and I'm going to talk about this in a second, I included this card of him. And you might be like, well, why would you include a picture of a sculpted trophy of the All Madden team from the 90s? Well, in addition to Ed White's on-field accomplishments, he is also a renowned artist, and he actually is the sculptor of this piece, among other pieces and other art, but this is the only picture that I have, or card I should say, of something that he sculpted. Unfortunately, he did not sign the card, and not even on the back or anything like that. But I was really hoping that maybe he'd sign that, so maybe I'll send it to him again. Maybe 2's the max that he signs. But I'm going to talk about Ed White's playing career, and we're going to touch a little bit on his art career as well. So Ed White grew up in Indio, California, where he attended high school. He would then go to play at the University of California, Berkeley for the Golden Bears from 1966 to 68 as a lineman, and was selected as a consensus All-American in 1968. White began his professional football career with the Minnesota Vikings after being drafted in the second round of the '69 draft. He is one of 11 players to have played in all 4 Viking Super Bowl appearances between 1969 and 76. Before the 1978 season, however, he was traded to the San Diego Chargers, with whom he would play through 1985. In total, a 17-year career in the pros with 241 games played. Mainly used as an offensive guard, he was selected to the Pro Bowl 4 times, as the card says, Pro Bowl at the top there. He played offensive line from the Chargers, like I mentioned, from 78 to 85. Following his retirement, he was inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame, the University of California Hall of Fame, the Brett Bard Hall of Fame, East-West Shrine Game Hall of Fame, and the San Diego Chargers Hall of Fame. Indio High School named their football field Ed White Stadium in honor of White, as a testament to his impact on every team he played on. In 2015, Ed White was selected to the All Pac-12 All-Century team playing defensive tackle at Cal. Chargers Hall of Famer Dan Fouts has been vocal about endorsing White for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Fouts has been quoted as saying, when he retired, nobody had more games played, 241, as an offensive lineman than Ed White. That was at the time of his retirement. They don't have many statistics for offensive linemen other than Pro Bowls and Super Bowls, but Ed would be a leader. He was one of the most feared offensive linemen in the game. You can talk to guys like Howie Long and Matt Millen who had to go against Big Ed. They hated it. Chargers center guard Dennis McKnight has called White probably the best all-around offensive lineman in the league in terms of run blocking and pass blocking. Furthermore, Kyle Turley has also been quoted as saying that Ed White was probably the best coach that he's ever had as a lineman coach throughout his career. So this is another one of those individuals that played for so long during an era kind of like being an Iron Man, and I have to agree with Dan Fouts. I don't understand how somebody that plays that long in the league cannot be considered in the Hall of Fame. Moving on from my thoughts on why he should be in the Hall of Fame, which I definitely think he should be, one of the neat things about him is he is also a very talented artist. As you can see, this is an example of one of his works. I will post a couple pictures if I can find them of some more of his work right here, so just to take a look at this. But a lot of people do not realize that Ed White is such a talented artist as well as one of the greatest football players to play offensive line in the NFL. I want to say, if I'm not mistaken, that when I sent this, I might have sent it to a studio address. So I think he still to this day owns a studio in California where you can go see his work. If I can find the information, I will definitely post it down below, the link to that. So if you're in the California area and you want to see some art, Ed White might be the best guy to go check out, because he's definitely one of those guys that just kind of falls under the radar in the NFL greats column. I want to thank you very much for joining me for another episode. I definitely want to thank Mr. Parsons for signing my cards as well. I also want to thank the great Gary Shirk from Giants fame for signing my cards. I look forward to you leaving some comments on this. Hopefully I taught you a few things about Ed White that maybe you didn't already know. I might consider sending just this card to him again, just so I can make sure that I get it signed. Thanks for watching. I look forward to your comments below. Happy collecting.